when Zai Kai enters the classroom only to find her best friend sleeping. Before she could do anything, the students distributed the notes amongst themselves as the teacher entered the classroom. Zai Kai throws Zhu Fang's notes on his face and focuses on the class. After insulting the non-seriousness of class and solving the most difficult question, he notices Zhu Fang and shouts to wake him up. Zai Kai uses this opportunity to prank him about the teacher asking him to erase the board. Zhu Fang gets up right away to do so, leaving the whole class and the teacher shocked. While he stands behind the class for the rest of the lecture, Zai Kai wears her bag subtly near the ending bell to flee. The moment the teacher leaves, she gets up to run only to be stopped by Zhu Fang wanting to arm wrestle her. It seems to be a tradition for the whole class as everyone readily moves the chairs and tables to the side and cheers for their respective support. The two get into an intense battle of arm wrestling which leads to Zai Kai eventually losing. She wants to go again but Zhu Fang wants her to do whatever he tells her to. She agrees to that, but Zhu Fang wants to take his sweet time coming up with a torturous demand. The next day, Zai Kai's father wakes her up for breakfast which turns out to be instant noodles. Her brother Zai Zheng tells her to share her fancy food demands with their mother who will be back tomorrow. She dreamily goes away while brushing her teeth and leaving her breakfast to Zai Zheng. Zhu Fang comes down to his bicycle only to find the seat gone. He thinks it was Zai Kai's doing so he steals her seat and rides away. Zai Kai comes down and does the same to Zhu Zheng, leaving the poor brother to ride a seatless bicycle. Zai Kai catches up to Zhu Fang who has decided what he wants her to do. He points to the black net stockings that are very inappropriate for a high school girl, especially to wear in school. But a bet has got to be respected. She wears the stockings under her skirt and comes out of the washroom embarrassed. Everyone in the school questions what she is wearing, and her class makes fun of her, but before she can go back and change, the teacher comes in. She punishes her to stand outside while everyone enjoys the situation, Zhu Fang the most. Later at her home, she wanders in the stockings liking the look on her. She models for her dog Fang Fang but the door starts unlocking. Her mother is back. She gets rid of the stockings real fast and hides them behind the pillow on the couch. Her mother is disappointed when she notices her father didn't cook them anything this time too. Zai Kai is happy that her mother is back and helps her with cooking. As she enjoys her favorite chicken, her mother cleans out the place and comes across the stockings. Instead of doubting Zai Kai, she thinks her husband brought some woman home. As if on cue, her father is also back. Zai Kai cries in her room at what she has done as her parents fight outside. She rushes to her mother who is leaving wanting to tell her the stockings belong to her, but her mother keeps cutting her off telling her she has some work and that is why she is going back. Zai Kai also seems to have words choked in her throat about admitting it. The next day, Zhu Fang talks to her by writing in his notebook during the lecture and gets to know why she is mad at him. She also gets him into trouble with the same angry teacher, once again feeling a little sense of relief. As she comes back, Zai Zheng tells her that Fang Fang wandered out since the door was open. She tells him to wait at home if the dog returns while she goes to search for him. She goes to Zhu Fang with the possibility of Fang Fang being there but no luck. Zhu Fang notices the weather and goes to help her while giving her an umbrella. As the two wander around, Zai Kai comes across a car in the neighborhood. Not just a car but his father's car while he sits inside kissing a woman who is not her mother. Her whole world shatters as she thinks eternal love doesn't exist, but most importantly, she believes she is at fault. If it hadn't been for the stockings, her mother wouldn't have found out. She even gets into a fight with Zhu Fang who is just trying to console her. She blames him for all of this happening and tells him she doesn't want anything to do with him anymore. As she gets home with Fang Fang, Zhu Fang follows her, but she tells Zai Zheng to close the door as they are not friends anymore. Her brother worries about her but gets no explanation. She even lashes out at her father but doesn't tell him the real reason. In her room, she calls her mother wanting to hear her voice and see her soon, but she tells her she cannot visit due to the workload at the hospital. She wishes Zai Kai luck for her entrance exam at Wrong University, the city where her mother lives. Zai Kai packs her bags and leaves for her grandfather's house to prepare for her entrance exam. Zhu Fang finds out the next day and goes there, but her words of not wanting to do anything with him make him lose the courage to face her and he leaves crying. Zai Kai and Zhu Fang had met in their childhood. The day her mother moved out was the day Zhu Fang's family moved into the neighborhood. He could sense how their family was broken and he became friends with her. They used to sneak up to a helipad as kids where Zai Kai would face the south missing her mother while Zhu Fang used to console her. Zai Kai gets the scores she wanted in her entrance exam, but of course, contentment has left her life recently. Episode 2. Zhu Fang thinks of his admission in archery at Wrong University while his mother tells him lovingly that being an athlete might be hard so he should think it through well. On the other hand, Zai Kai is leaving for her university at a time when her father isn't home. Zai Zheng is well aware that she is avoiding him, but he also questions her avoidance of Zhu Fang. She tells him she isn't going to meet him anyway, so it is useless. Oh, how wrong she is about that. Zai Kai enters the university happy to start a new life in her mom's city. She is looking for the female dorm when she comes across a cat stuck in a tree with some students trying to help her. The students seem to be scaring her more rather than helping, but Zai Kai sighs upon not being listened to. A guy behind her tells her she seems to know the cat better, making her smile for 2 reasons. The first is that he understands her, and the second is the handsomeness of the guy. The guy helps get the cat down while Zai Kai expresses her love for animals, which is a reason she is studying veterinary medicine. The guy, Yi Xiaowen, walks her to the dorm, and the two exchange their names. As Zai Kai enters her room, her 2 roommates are already present, with one of them in a banter with her mom. She is also chanting to not have a weird roommate. She notices Zai Kai, who looks normal to her, and happily greets her. She introduces herself as Nai Yu, and the other one is Xin Zaidan. Yu seems to be an extrovert who decides she will take care of the 2 since she is older. Zai Zheng rushes to open a box from under his bed only to find a note in it from his sister taking the money he put in it. He calls to question why she won't use the card given by her dad, but she refuses to answer it. After ending the call, she drops a text to her mom about reaching the city. In their first lecture, a senior is supposed to give a speech, and that senior turns out to be Xiao Wen. All the girls gush over him, including Zai Kai, who randomly looks outside and feels like she saw Zhu Fang jogging. She ignores it and focuses on the cute guy speaking in class. He even gives everyone his WeChat account so they to discuss concepts with him. The girls go out to eat in the evening. The other 2 go to get something while Zai Kai is left behind. She goes to a kid trying archery to win a prize and boasts about being a pro just because she grew up watching archery. She misses 2 of the shots while the disappointed kid awaits the 3rd one. Luckily, Zhu Fang appears behind and directs the bow properly to pop a balloon. The kid leaves after shaking his head at Zai Kai. Zhu Fang's friend, Zhang Zhengzhu, comes to him and gets excited to meet the scary yet pretty Zai Kai Zhu Fang told him about. He then leaves the 2 alone, but when Zai Kai tries to leave to the girls that are coming back, Zhu Fang drags her away by her jacket, leaving the girls confused. The 2 walk in an awkward silence for a long time, with their conversation being curt and petty. To avoid it, Zai Kai tells him they should eat together, but Zhu Fang asks about the treat she was supposed to give him. She walks away mentioning she is poor. As the 2 sit, they both order a lot of food, but Zhu Fang orders more than Zai Kai. She takes his fruit jelly to eat and mentions they should hang around more, forgetting she just called him an enemy when they sat. Zhu Fang knows she is saying that for free meals, and he can see she is poor. Even though it is true, Zai Kai gets a little offended and mocks him that the people who call him handsome now don't know he was a dumb guy with glasses that she used to boss around. He offers her another arm wrestling match where she will get a month's pocket money from him if she wins. Zai Kai agrees in greed and even uses both her hands, yet loses. Zhu Fang opens her wallet and then her online account only to find 800 yen. He takes that money while saying that his pocket money is 2,000 yen, so she owes him the rest that can be paid via labor. Zai Kai falls to the table defeated. In their respective rooms, she has to explain the entire situation to her roommates while Zhu Fang is inquired by Zheng Zhu about the story. He ignores his roommate and texts Zai Kai to choose his class tomorrow, specifying he doesn't want Yan's class. The next day, the 3 girls wake up late, and before Zai Kai can choose a class, her laptop crashes. By the time she logs in again, it is too late to choose any other class. Zai Kai, Zhu Fang, and Sai Dan are all in Yan's class. Zai Kai gets only a single bun for her lunch, making you worry about her. She gives her some of her lunch, vowing to treat her to a bun every day if she gets hungry. Zai Kai walks around the university when she meets Xiao Wen. He takes her where there are a lot of stray cats and makes her greet the dorm. After she leaves, Zai Kai calls Zai Zheng, but he doesn't talk much to her and leaves for his mock. He decides to put a magazine on his teacher's desk to distract him while he cheats but gets caught. Episode 3. The principal of the school scolds Zai Zheng for cheating while bragging about her daughter, who is a top student at Rong University. She asks to meet his parents but is surprised to hear the response that they prioritize another thing over the education of their children. The archery team disses the quality of equipment they are provided with, unaware that their coach is hearing their whining. The captain of the team, Fu, ignores the rumor about selecting a new captain, thinking no team can be better than the one led by him. The coach lectures them to be the best first and then complains about not being rewarded with the best equipment. He decides to choose a new captain and goes up to Zhu Fang, for his ex-coach recommended him to this coach, and he knows that Zhu Fang must be a precious one if his former teammate recommended him. Zhu Fang seems to resist this declaration but isn't listened to. The veterinary students are in their first dissection class and Zai Dan is asked to dissect a worm, but she freaks out. Zai Kai decides to step forward and enjoys dissecting the slimy creature. She then sends a picture to her best friend who opens it while having his lunch, unfortunately. As the two boys sit and discuss not wanting to be the captain, the girls enter the cafeteria. Zhu Fang calls Zai Kai over and makes her list out what she wants to eat. Zheng Zhu brings the lunch, but Zhu Fang puts out the condition that she needs to list 100 good things about him to get food. She is resistant but hunger makes her do so. Of course, listing out 100 things is not easy, and a lot of time passes to the extent that the girls sleep on the table waiting for Zai Kai. After an eternity, she is finally done but she only gets a bowl of soup rather than the whole tray. She then starts eating the leftovers of Zhu Fang unaware he left it untouched on purpose. Turns out Zai Zheng had asked him to take care of his sister and he is doing so in a fun way to get his revenge for being bullied for all these years. While Zai Kai is sleeping in the library, her loud ringtone disturbs everyone except her deep slumber. Yu wakes her up and she picks up Zhu Fang's call who tells her to go meet a senior Jing Jing. She greets Zai Kai happily upon hearing she is his best friend and expresses wanting to know Zhu Fang since she has a crush on her. Zhu Fang tells Zai Kai to tell Jing Jing that Zhu Fang likes Zai Kai. Zai Kai goes back to Jing Jing and dashes after telling her so. As she cries in her room about it, she tells her friends he was on speaker so she couldn't do anything, so now a senior has beef with her. She wonders how their dynamic is reversed while the girls have a hard time believing she used to bully Zhu Fang. The girls then gossip about the senior who always used to skip classes, Lai Yong, who used to be a top science student but failed due to video games. Late at night, Zai Kai is returning to her room when she sees a guy enter her room. She takes the broom and starts hitting the potential thief in the room only for it to be Lai Yong. The girls apologize and introduce themselves, making Lai Yong point out how much Jing Jing hates Zai Kai. The next day, everyone sits in Yan's class and gossips about him, unaware that he is sitting behind the desk. Zai Kai calls Zhu Fang who is late. Yan gets up scaring everyone and tells them to write their attendance on a paper. As the paper is passed around, Zai Kai succeeds in waking Zhu Fang who tells her to cover for him while he comes back. She writes his name on the sheet not knowing Yan is going to call out the names and create a seating order. She takes off her jacket and hat and tries to fool Yan by appearing as two people but gets caught. She makes the excuse of him pooping, making Yan diss her for being so loyal to her friend. Zhu Fang enters the class and gets demerit points for being late. The girls meet Xiao Wen at night as they play werewolf in the archery training ground. Zai Kai is dared to bring the WeChat ID of one of the archery members, so she goes to Zhu Fang. He flat refuses her, so she goes back silently. After a moment, she rushes to Zhu Fang, jumps on his back, and starts hitting him for insulting her. Everyone separates the two only to find out she hurt him enough to cause him to bleed on his neck. She takes him to the infirmary and treats his wound, apologizing for hurting him as he is her only friend. Upon realizing he got 2 wounds, she feels a lot of guilt, but she seems to be stubborn as she doesn't even accept. She likes being around him yet fights him if he retaliates with mockery. He tells her he doesn't want to talk to an idiot like her, so she leaves in anger. The girls tell Zai Kai that their fight video went viral in university, and she is being referred to as Demon Kai. Zai Kai cries on the floor for her reputation going down the drain, and rightly, so she is nagged by almost the entire university the next day, and there seems to be no hiding for her. Episode 4. Zai Kai has been spending time hiding in her room, so Lai Yong suggests a way to retaliate. Zai Kai sneaks up to Zhu Fang explaining the entire situation and asking him to clear it out. After Zhu Fang refuses to do so, a series of pranks start against him, ranging from showing everyone his childhood crying photo, changing his delivery address and eating his food, and putting a red teddy bear in his white clothes being washed. Zheng Zhu feels like Zhu Fang is still protecting Zai Kai and letting her do all this, while Zai Kai seems to be having a lot of fun bullying Zhu Fang. In her room, Lai Yong shows everyone his post about accepting publicly that she has been behind him and attacked him because he rejected her. Zai Kai is offended and decides to play along. She starts posting about being head over heels for Zhu Fang. While Zhu Fang trains with his teammates, they all head back, calling him incompetent as a captain. Zheng Zhu and Zhu Fang gossip about the Zai Kai situation till Coach Liu interrupts them for being distracted. In the library, Zhu Fang corners her and traps her within his arms, wanting to play along, but Zai Kai seems to be wanting a truce on his conditions. He tells her to apply for the assistant of the archery team so she can earn. She tries to refuse, but they both know she doesn't have much of a choice. In her room, Zai Kai deletes all her cringe posts, while her friends think she is more at a loss with this than Zhu Fang. Yu mentions her open-mindedness being something that will make it hard for her to find a boyfriend in this university, but Zai Kai doesn't seem to care about it. As she treats the stray cats to the last snacks she can afford, Xiao Wen also comes there. She asks about some work-study jobs, so he suggests she apply for some scholarships that will even earn her some points. She gets to know that being an assistant to the sports team will even get her some good allowance, so she rushes to Coach Liu. In her CV, she has written in a large font that she is fond of dogs, and she blabbers about her dog Fang Fang, her love for dogs, and how she will take care of the team like that. Coach Liu laughs at her personality and warns her it is going to be a tedious job before taking her in. He takes Zai Kai towards the archery ground and explains some details, leaving the rest of the captain. On instinct, he notices Zhu Fang keeping the bow too close to his chin and hurts him purposefully to tell him how doing this can harm him. He insults Zhu Fang for lacking upper body strength and stance, but Zai Kai tries to defend him. Zai Kai puts on a cute band-aid on his chin while joking about the situation to lighten the mood. Later during the workout session, Zhu Fang is once again bullied by Coach Liu, and after he leaves, even the teammates mock him before going for a drinks break. Zai Kai also jokes about the situation and leaves. Zai Kai later overhears Coach Liu talking about disbanding the team by next year if they don't perform well, and understands this is why he is insulting Zhu Fang so much, because he has high expectations from him. He tells Zai Kai to not mention it to others, but she feels it is necessary to mention it to Zhu Fang to boost his morale and have him stick to being a captain. As she puts on some music to motivate everyone, the basketball team appears there, insulting the archery team and resorting to violence. Later, Coach Liu is furious at the team and corners Zhu Fang once again, even though he didn't fight at all. He asks Zhu Fang to throw 1,000 arrows as a punishment. While he is doing so, Zhang Zhu and Zai Kai observe him from afar as Zhang Zhu praises her for sticking up to him the whole day. Later in the changing room, Zai Kai comes to Zhu Fang once again, mentioning how the coach has high hopes for him. She mentions she can defeat him in arm wrestling right now and does so by cheating. As a win, she asks him to stick to being the captain of the archery team. Zai Zheng is defeated and bullied in a video game, so he tries to find this Dalai to beat him up, only to find out it is some person in wrong city. Zai Kai meets her mother at the hospital and looks around her dorm. She tries to ask her to move back in with them but gets no response. Her mother gifts her something related to her field and tries to give her a monthly allowance, but Zai Kai tells her she is doing fine on her own. She tells her mother that if she doesn't want to go back, she can bring her whole family here once she graduates, but her mother avoids answering yet again and hugs her.